benefits. Right now, you can save 20% off Truck Stop Load Board Pro for 6 months. The best tool for serious carriers. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description to get 20% off Load Board Pro for 6 months. Need capital to grow your business or cover unexpected expenses? Rock Financial has your back. Whether you're looking for a flexible line of credit, a fast cash advance, or tailored working capital solutions, Rock Financial makes it simple to get funded, often in as little as 24 hours. No hidden fees, an easy application, and real support from people who know the business. Ready to take your hustle to the next level? Tap the link in the description to get started with Rock Financial today. Wish insurance was this easy? With LogRock, it's like magic. Real coverage appears when you need it. No tricks. Get covered now. Click the link in the description.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up? Come on in, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. If you are in need of commercial insurance for your semi-truck, box truck, cargo van business, there's a link in the description below for LogRock. LogRock sponsors the channel. All your commercial insurance needs up for renewal, looking for a cheaper replacement as your insurance is about to come up on this renewal. Looking for something a little bit cheaper, make sure you guys tap in with the link below for LogRock, see if they can offer you something cheaper to help you save some money for your semi-truck, box truck, or cargo van business. Come on in, make sure you guys click that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. Shout out to Sheridan Forbes in the building. What's going on? Shout out to Quick Turbo. Shout out to Kelvin Birch representing the crib. Shout out to William Sweet. Who is this? Charles Payne. What's going on? Representing Kansas. Shout out to Ben Uzi. Shout out to Jay Who representing the crib. Shout out to, who's this? Brandon Gaston. What's good? Checking in from Willowbrook. All right, we're going to get you the crib. Willowbrook's southwest suburb. We'll get you the crib. Valentine. Shout out to Danny O'Hara. What's going on? What's up? How's everybody doing? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications. You know, this is an Amazon topic, so everybody's here. You know, when we talk about Amazon, anything economics, people tune in with Big Mark. I forgot to actually even post this. I forgot to post that I was going live on Instagram, and we got a little audience already. So come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. All right, this is something that broke about a week ago. I did get everybody who DM'd this story to me, and there's a reason why I just didn't move on it. And I the news isn't as big as what people think it is. All right, it's not as big as what people think it is, and I'll kind of explain why. I'm gonna go over this news, and I'm gonna break it down to you, and it's probably not what you're gonna think. I know there's one of your other favorite content creators. He kind of jumped out there and did a little short about it, and I actually saw it this morning, and what's known don't need to be explained. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the article. Pretty much all the articles are the same. I'm gonna read the article and then I'm gonna break it down to you. I don't think it's as pressing as people are thinking it's going to be, and I'm gonna explain to you why. All right, so let me share my screen real quick. Let me move this out the way. Let's get straight to it. Matter of fact, let's bring it up on the big screen. And then let me blow this up. Let me make it bigger. All right, so boom. Amazon reportedly considering dropping United States Postal Service and building a competing postal service. Now, this is the news that Mark, talk about it. Let's talk about it, all right? Amazon is considering ending its long-standing contract with the United States Postal Service and building out its own competing nationwide delivery network, according to the Washington Post. First of all, the news broke on the Washington Post. Come on, guys. This is why I always say, let's use our common sense here. Who owns the Washington Post, guys? Who owns the Washington Post? Good. A bunch of people left. They don't want to hear it. Who owns the Washington Post? Who owns the Washington Post? Let's see. Nobody? You getting your Googles on real quick? Who owns the Washington Post? All right, Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, the news broke on the Washington Post. Amazon, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. The current agreement between the e-commerce giant and the United States Postal Service expires in October 2026. Remember this date, October 2026. It's currently December 2025. The current agreement between the e-commerce giant and United States Postal Service expires October 26. The two sides have spent months negotiating what the next version of the contract would look like. Have spent months negotiating what the next version, the proof is in the details. That's why when I saw the video this morning from the other content creator, like, that's hope, man. That's putting hope to the people. Because now people are thinking, oh my God, this might be the opportunity of a lifetime. If this happens, then, this is going to present new opportunities. The proof is in the details. When you read and you comprehend and you listen, you understand what the next version of the contract would look like. That sentence right there tells the story. But let's continue. But those negotiations have been complicated by President Trump's push to privatize the United States Postal Service, the Post reports. Under the current agreement, Amazon pays the United States Postal Service billions of dollars annually to distribute packages, accounting for roughly 7.5% of the agency's revenue in 2025. USPS is a long-standing and trusted partner, and we remain committed to working together. Amazon spokesperson Steve Kelly said in a statement, adding that the company is discussing ways to extend our partnership. But Kelly said Amazon was surprised to hear the United States Postal Service wants to run an auction for some of its shipping capacity. So we still have a lot of work to work through. Given the change of direction and the uncertainty it adds to our delivery network, we're evaluating all of our options that would ensure we can continue to deliver for our customers, he said. Amazon already operates a large transportation network that includes airplanes, Rivian electric vans, and a budding drone delivery system. Through the drone program has faced a number of struggles this year, including most recently a Federal Aviation Administration probe. It's also developing autonomous vehicles through its subsidiary, Zoox. All right, boom. So this is the article. All right? All right? In a nutshell. All right, now let's talk about it. Do I want to bring this up here? Where do I want to bring it? I want something that shows Amazon. Just leave it right there. All right, let's talk about this real quick. All right, so boom. It was a lot of details in that article. And I think if people read to comprehend instead of just read to read, they'll get a lot of the answers and they won't get misled and they won't be filled with hope and things of that nature. First, let's break down the USPS and the Amazon relationship. Let's break it down. All right. We're going to break it down, why they're partners, why did they become partners, what's the use case, and as far as both, why do they need each other? All right. Amazon and United States Postal Service have a last mile agreement. All right. It's not a traditional carrier contract like FedEx or UPS. It's a last mile agreement. All right. United States Postal Service delivers Amazon packages the final mile throughout the week, also on Sundays. I remember back when the postal service first started delivering packages for Amazon, it's probably been about a decade now. It was weird to see postal vans out in the field on a Sunday. It was strange, and I didn't know why. I'm like, why is the mail delivering on Sunday? This is probably about 10 years ago, and it turned out it was Amazon, right? Certain holidays, obviously rural and low density areas, overflow volume during peak seasons. Basically, what Amazon does is it injects parcel into the United States postal facilities, often already sorted, and USPS performs some form of final mile for Amazon, final mile delivery on routes that it already has. All right. And it's commonly referred to as Amazon Parcel Select, right? That's what it's called. So basically, the guys that do Amazon Relay in the middle of the night, they pretty much deliver to these post offices. You hear them talk about how they drive out to these rural areas and they drop off pallets to the post offices. A lot of these rural areas, like really, really far out rural areas, middle of nowhere, real middle America type stuff. And a lot of those post offices, you see them, they wouldn't look like your traditional post offices. Like if you live in an urban city, you live in a metropolitan area, looks like more of a commercial facility when you go to the post office in the city, versus when you get out to those sticks, post office looks like a barn in some cases. You wouldn't even know it was a post office. This is those types of rural areas. I want you to understand the type of rural that we're talking about. All right, so why did the post office take the deal, right? Guaranteed volume. One thing I can say about the post office, now mind you, it's the post office, so volume is there, but there is a decline in volume for since about 97, 98. Last time I checked, it's been a decline in volume. All right, so guaranteed volume, increase of volume, immediate cash flow, better utilization of carriers that are already en route. So obviously there's carriers en route for the USPS. So, Amazon can fill in a lot of those dead spots, right? So it helps to utilize routes better, and it keeps rural routes viable. All right. So United States Post Office already drives these routes anyway. All right. Once upon a time, Amazon dealt with the post office, UPS, and FedEx. FedEx got up out of there in 2019. They said, yo, this isn't profitable. I remember Trump during his first term in office, he was complaining about Amazon, how he was saying that the deal that they had with Amazon, it was not really profitable for the Postal Service. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was low. You know what I'm saying? Low to us, but that number, don't take me for this, but I think it was like 15 cents a package. It was crazy low, but you got to remember that USPS deals in volume. But it was crazy low. And I remember Trump was talking about, wanting to renegotiate with Amazon because he wasn't pleased with the amount of money that the Postal Service was receiving. He said they were pretty much operating at a loss. Now, the controversy and where people get confused is USPS is losing money on Amazon. Rates are too low. Taxpayers are subsidizing Amazon. The reality, all right, that's what people think based off what we heard from Trump and just some other news stories that we've seen throughout the year. USPS hasn't disclosed any rates. The most I think I've heard as far as what USPS makes from Amazon is when Trump mentioned it in one of those speeches where he was ranting during the first term. I can't remember the exact number. I'm going to see if I can go research that speech. He was just talking during a normal speech and he just inserted that information in. It was during the first term. So I would have to go back and do a deep dive on that research. United States Postal Service doesn't disclose the exact rate. They haven't. No one can find it. It's not public information, right? So we don't know if they're making money or we're losing. The only thing we know is what Trump said. that one time. Some routes are profitable while others are marginal, and Amazon packages fill deadhead space on routes that already exist. This is true. We know this already, right? USPS is not building infrastructure just for Amazon. Amazon adapts to the United States Postal Service. That's reality. I remember having a conversation, it was probably more like a debate. Some people probably remember that with another content creator about maybe 3 years ago. And they said the Amazon needed United States Postal Service. And my argument was it doesn't. The Amazon needs the USPS, not the other way around. The content creator's argument was that the Postal Service needed Amazon. Not true. The Postal Service needed, if Amazon needs the Postal Service because USPS, and excuse me if I keep jumbling this because I got a USPS and UPS, obviously two different things, but sometimes saying USPS, I get kind of jumbled, right? Amazon needs the United States Postal Service. They don't have the infrastructure in rural areas to do the deliveries. It's not the other way around. United States Postal Service was the United States Postal Service since, goddamn it, Pony Express. United States Postal Service is robust. It's very robust. It's been around for almost, if not about 250 years now. Since going way back to the Pony Express, since way back before the United States Postal Service, when it was just called the post office or the postal service, right? It's gone through different changes throughout the course of 250 years, but this network, this infrastructure has it's been in existence for 250 years. The Postal Service was the Postal Service before Amazon was even an idea of Jeff Bezos. The Postal Service was the Postal Service before Jeff Bezos was born. So the Postal Service was the Postal Service before Amazon. So why people think that the Postal Service won't survive without Amazon is ludicrous to me. Like, I don't understand that. In order for Amazon to build their own infrastructure to be able to provide service to people in rural areas, they would have to build out this. Listen, there's more rural area in this country than there is urban. I mean, and you guys that are middle mile truckers, you see that. You drive long stretches of nothing, going from place to place, city to city. You drive long mile stretches of just grass. And in those long mile stretches, some of those exits are little bitty towns. Some of these little bitty towns, FedEx and the UPS doesn't even service. FedEx and UPS use the Postal Service to handle final mile in some of these very, 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 very rural areas. Amazon 100% has to adapt to the United States Postal Service, not the other way around. Amazon uses USPS as a pressure valve. A rural delivery solution. You rarely see, especially if you're in a major city, the Postal Service delivering Amazon packages no more. Why? Because Amazon has its own robust delivery network in most urban metropolitan areas. I remember when the USPS, about 10 years ago, before Amazon was as robust as it is today, as far as, metropolitan areas and DSP is concerned, where it was all hands on deck. It was Amazon before DSP. It was at Amazon back when they were contracting, just regular companies with white vans. You had FedEx that was still on board, UPS on board, and the post office. I remember getting Amazon packages 2016, 2015, 2017, still from the post office. You don't see that anymore. That's gone. Amazon does their own final mile, either through DSP or through Flex. They don't use the post office anymore locally. So it's pretty much for rural delivery, right? It's a cost control lever, right? Against obviously UPS and FedEx. And it's a fallback when DSP capacity is tight. Now, they may utilize the Postal Service during peak times like this if they need. But, right now you have a robust flex network. That was the purpose of building the flex network. They got people on the waiting list. They can just open up the floodgates of the waiting list and get it done, but not for rural areas, right? United States Postal Service does not contract work for Amazon. You cannot get a USPS Amazon contract as a box truck driver. That does not exist. DSP. Let me say this for the second part. Let me get to the meat and potatoes. All right. Can Amazon do it? No. No, they can't do it. They wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm gonna break it down why. It's unprofitable. If it was profitable, I'm pretty sure they would have already been building out infrastructure for it. If going that deep into rural areas was profitable, FedEx and UPS would have been doing it a long time ago. It's just not profitable. I was talking to a mover in the Discord yesterday who went an hour and a half outside of Chicago to do a move. And I'm like, why? I don't even know why you service that area. And if you're going to service that area, you need to charge a premium. It's just not profitable to travel an hour and a half. And then you have to charge a premium. If people that live in the sticks, they understand they're going to pay a premium for everything. You live in a small town, everything's going to be at a premium and everything is going to be slow. A person that lives in the sticks is not going to get an Amazon delivery as quick as a person who lives in Chicago or a person who lives in New York or a person who lives in Atlanta. Why? Because the sort stations and the warehouses and the cross docks and the 3PLs are closer in the city. Why? One, it's because if you're running a multi-million square foot facility, you need to be somewhere off a major highway where there's going to be enough people to work in that facility. I mean, you can't put something like that needs a huge staff way out in the sticks. And then two, there's not much volume going out there. Why build this multi-conglomerate, huge, multi-million square foot facility somewhere where there's not much volume? If you live in the sticks and you need a service provider to come out and service your wash machine or dryer, 9 times out of 10, that service provider is going to be coming from wherever the next closest major town or major city is. And then they're going to charge you a fee. People that live in the sticks, they understand that everything is going to either be slower for them or more expensive, right? It's not profitable for Amazon to operate way out there in the sticks. It's too far, low package density. People that live out in the sticks, they don't order shit like people that live in the city do. They have a different mindset. They live very modestly. High fuel and labor cost. Low density frequency. The United States Postal Service, by law, there's a decree that they have to service every single square foot of the United States. It's a decree. It's written in law. This is why those little small towns have a little bitty postal office that looks like a garage. By law, the United States Postal Service has to service the whole country. Every single zip code. The United States Postal Service, no matter how rural or how small the town is, the United States Postal Service has to run that route regardless. It's legally obligated. I forget what the universal I think it's the universal service obligation. I don't know. Let me look. I think it's the universal service obligation. Let's see. I think that's what it's called. Universal service obligation. Let me just make sure. Service obligation. All right. So yes, the universal service obligation is a government mandate requiring essential services like postal or telecom to be available to everyone affordably, regardless of location, ensuring no one is left behind by market forces. All right. So in the U.S., the United States Postal Service has a universal service obligation to provide reliable, affordable mail to all Americans. All right. So I was right. They have to provide it. All right. So if this postal service has to provide it by law, it's going to be best for Amazon to contract them out to cover an area that they're going to operate at a loss. There's no way on God's green earth, when you read this story and you think logically, Amazon is going to be able to build enough infrastructure by October 2026 to service all the rural. There's more rural area in this country than metropolitan urban area. Like you middle mile guys, you should know this. You drive this shit all the time. There's no way on God's green earth they're going to be able to build that much infrastructure in 10 months. So that's why when I go back to the article and you read the article, the key word here is, where is it? Amazon is considering the current agreement between the e-commerce giant and USPS expires in October 2026. The two sides have spent months negotiating what the next version of the contract would look like. What the next version. These are very specific words. What the next version, not what if there's a next version, what the next version. There's no way that Amazon can do without the United States Postal Service. It's impossible. And I'll put money on the line. You just can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. From a time perspective, they just don't, even if they wanted to, there's not enough time. They're going to have to renew this contract. And more than likely, they're going to have to play ball with the Postal Service. The Postal Service is going to get out of this bad contract and they'll be able to negotiate better. I think the reason why they didn't negotiate well initially over a decade ago is because this was at the boom of the evolution of e-commerce. And I don't think they really knew what they were getting into. And I don't think they really knew what to expect from what we see now. I don't think they saw like what we see now. I don't think they saw that. They definitely didn't see 2020. I don't think anybody would have, forecasted the evolution as how it went. Yeah, obviously we thought of moderate progression, but this thing took off like a rocket ship. And I think they just miscalculated. So I think there's enough data now, right? And I think ultimately Amazon's going to have to play ball. They have no choice. So when I read an article like considering, and I'm looking at these certain words, where else are they going to go? They're not going to build an entire infrastructure in rural areas all across America in the next 10 months. And why would they do it where the margins are negative by design? I mean, the post office is losing money. So why would they go into it knowing that the further out you go, the less profitable it is, and you're actually doing it at a loss? This is why FedEx and UPS outsources to the post office in just way rural areas. UPS already has the trucks. They have the routes. They have the carriers already. They have the universal service obligation. They have the mandate. If Amazon replaces the United States Postal Service and takes over all their delivery in all those rural areas, then they're going to 100% eat the cost of it. And we know Amazon is not going to do that. They're not going to do it because they pride themselves on, keeping things economically priced. They would have to really, really go up on the subscription fees, right? And then just logically, there's not enough time to build that infrastructure across the United States of America in the next 10 months. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. So, and here, let's look at it from this point. If it did happen, what would happen to Amazon Relay? It's gone, right? And let's say they don't build the infrastructure. Let's say, they'll just make the DSPs drive further. They're not going to do that. Why? Because you're setting them up for failure. Look how many DSPs now are under so much pressure and how many DSPs fold every single year and get booted off the Amazon platform because they're under intense pressure and they're having to deal with that metric system. And a lot of DSPs can't even operate successful dealing with the Amazon metric system. They get booted off the platform every year. So imagine having to sending DSP vans an hour and a half, 2 hours out into rural areas just to do a few deliveries because now you have to account for the travel time there and the travel time back. It's not cost effective. It's just not, it's not cost effective. It wouldn't work. They're going to have to renegotiate the contract and whatever USPS wants, they're just going to have to give it to them. And that's just what that is. The United States Postal Service, already has a fixed cost obligation machine already in place. I'm just sitting here thinking of, it wouldn't work. There's no way this will work. There's no way it will work. So I don't know how many other ways to explain it, but it wouldn't work. So it just wouldn't work. If I was Amazon, if I was Jeff Bezos, I would continue to use USPS. Obviously, I wouldn't have a choice. We're going to have to negotiate. Obviously, they're going to want more money. And that's it. We keep Relay intact. We continue to send them out there in the middle of the night to drop off pallets at the post office. And we continue to just deal with the United States Postal Service to run the final mile leg for us. If we got to pay a few more dollars or a few more cents, so be it. It's cheaper than building infrastructure. It's cheaper than housing infrastructure. It's the quickest solution. And we can stay profitable instead of operating at a loss. That's that. All right, so man, let's get into the next thing that I saw other people were sending me, and this has something to do with Amazon too. Some Somali guy. I don't know. I don't know. What
are you gonna be paying?
These foreigner guys that just can't read, they can't speak English. I don't know what to say about these guys. Anyway, this foreigner guy who's delivering for Amazon, he decides that, or he claims that the GPS took him through the LAX arrival terminal.
How are you gonna be paying?
Can we take money?
Can I send you money?
What did he say? First time I see an Amazon trailer trying to make a delivery here in LAX. If you guys are familiar with the area, this is pretty much where the arrival's at. The delivery driver who said he's from Somalia said that the delivery is here at LAX. Well, you can see from over there in the distance, that's where the arrival's at for the passengers.
The location to delivery is...
Look at. Sure. I'm the captain now.
Why'd you go this way then?
Huh?
Why'd you go this way?
They got me
Your GPS?
The GPS got me. Yeah, it's just tell me to use this way.
Oh, to go through the arrivals?
Yeah, to back it up. The bus is wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he ripped off his lines. Right there. Damn. Okay. Oh, okay, he did taco it. All right, first, what are you loaded with?
Yeah, to the Amazon.
Now I'm just having the driver back up and reconnect this trailer after hitting that K-rail. Oh, wow. Just connect the ones that connect to the light.
Huh?
Connect your light. There you go.
This is, I could just tell this is at least $5,000. When they get to pulling out the cranes and stuff, this is at least $5,000 right here.
Sensational.
As you can see, tacoed his rim flat. And he tore off all his lines here. See that?
They need to send on the group.
The group?
The group?
On the group.
Oh, group chat?
Yeah, well, why would I send a link to a group chat? Is he the one paying? If he's not the one paying, I want the direct person that's gonna pay. I'll give you 10 minutes. If not, I'll just have I'll have the truck impounded. Tacoed rim. The drive of shame. How you gonna be?
So this is something I got 5 or 6 people sent this to me too last week. You guys know how I feel about people not reading and writing English. I don't think, if you don't read, if you don't write English, you shouldn't be operating a semi-truck. I think this was completely avoidable. I mean, I just don't understand why would a person drive into a departure or an arrival terminal? Clearly, he got lost. He had no sense of direction. Obviously, he's a foreigner, and even with him, being a foreigner, still with a sense of direction and being able to read. Right, a person who knows how to read, even if they're not familiar with that area, knows you're in an airport and they can see the signs: arrival, Delta, Southwest. You're gonna detour way before you get to that point. He clearly got lost because he wasn't comprehending what the GPS was saying, because he can't read or write English. So even if the GPS was in his native language, the signage that you see as he's driving, as he's approaching this airport, is all in English. So even if the GPS was sending him that way because he inputted the address wrong, or for whatever reason, all this signage, and anybody's been to an airport, way before you get to the terminal, there's signs everywhere. And normally there's a sign that say all trucks exit next exit. This is why people that don't read or write or speak English shouldn't be behind the wheel. I'm not going to say of a vehicle, as they say down south. I say vehicle. They shouldn't be behind the wheel of a semi-truck. They shouldn't have a CDL. I don't think you should have a CDL. I don't think you should have a commercial driver's license if you can't speak, read, or write English in the United States of America. For these reasons, this is one of the reasons. This isn't one of the ones that we've seen like recently. Like this year, we've been seeing a lot of foreigners that can't read or write or speak English, unalive people. So, luckily this wasn't one of those types of stories, but, even with this is completely, this could have been avoided if the individual could just read.
So, you know, I don't know what else to say about it. That's why I don't, when you guys send me these types of stories, I don't jump on them because it's, if you've seen one, you've seen them all, man. That it's just what it is, man. It's sad. I don't know why this happened, but it's ridiculous, and they need to take all their licenses away. And that's how I feel about it, unfortunately. If you feel a way about me saying that, I'm sorry, but I mean, if you can't read English, you shouldn't be behind the wheel of a commercial vehicle in the United States of America. All right? And that's that. That's that. That's my views on that. I don't, to me, I don't know. Like if I go to when I go to other countries, I think when I was in the UAE, from what I remember, all the signs were in Arabic. I don't understand why people go to other countries and rent cars. Like I would never rent a car in another country, especially when the signs are in another language. This is what they got taxi cabs for. And this is what they got Ubers for. If I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. What am I gonna rent a car for, man? Give me a car service, take me where I want to go. I'm not gonna put myself in a bad situation, right? So I don't know why California and Illinois and what other states are giving these guys or were giving these guys licenses. Why would you do that? To me, it doesn't make any sense. But all right. That's it, man. I don't like we can chop it up real quick. Those were just two things people want me to talk about. Like the whole Amazon thing, like stop letting people get your hopes up high. Please. Like I be trying to find new ways to explain it, but it's pretty much cut and dry, man. Like Amazon is not getting rid of the postal service. They can't. It's impossible. It's just impossible. It's impossible. You're not going to be able to build what they've been building over the course of the last 250 years in 10 months. Where are they going to go? Even if they got rid of them, where would they go? They can't go to the UPS. UPS uses the postal service. They can't go to FedEx. FedEx uses the postal service for those. And when I say rural, I'm not talking about neighboring suburbs. We're talking about those areas where you relay guys go in the middle of the night, way out in sticks, and y'all be dropping off pallets at them post offices that look like our garages in our alleys. They look like those post offices look like our garages. They look like a goddamn barn. They don't even have U.S. Postal. It looks like a goddamn barn. That's when you know you out in the sticks somewhere. Man, they're not finna build shit out there. For what? They just send you out there in the middle of the night, let you compete on the load board on the Amazon. Hold on, let me turn on the phone lines. Let you compete on the Amazon Relay load board that y'all complaining about the prices, the rates are low. Let y'all compete, drive the rate down, let y'all compete for this shit, drop it off at the post office, and let the letter carrier deliver the package. Save money all the way around. It's all for the consumer. It's not for the individual. It's not for you. It's all to save money for the consumer. All right, phone lines is open. We can talk Amazon. We can talk Amazon from the USPS Amazon contract perspective. However you want to talk about it, we could talk about it. And then we can also talk about foreign drivers. Since we covered that foreign driver, we could talk about that too. I don't want to help you with your box truck. I don't want to, do no coaching. I want to talk about Amazon and UPS, or USPS, I should say, as far as this contract. We could talk about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you feel indifferent? The line is open, man. Line is open. 312-772-5483, 312-772-5483. Me, I totally disagree that relationship is going to end. Amazon is 100% going to stay with the postal service. 100%. I'm willing to put money up. I'm willing to take on all bettors. Anybody want to bet? I guarantee you October 2026, partnership is still going to be in place. New, obviously a new contract, but the partnership is still going to be intact. So there's nowhere for them to go. Why you got to get on the South though?
You talking about how y'all talk when y'all say vehicle? That's what y'all say. Y'all say vehicle. Y'all pronounce that H, vehicle. And y'all say, instead of saying white, y'all say white, vehicle. Y'all come with that hard H. You could just say vehicle. You say vehicle or white. You pronounce that shit like that. We don't do that up here. Yeah, so Amazon got the nerve to talk about they vetting customers. You said ask Chat GPT to come up with a new way to make it work. There's no way it's gonna work. I've sat here and thought while I was just presenting this shit. There's no way. There's no way from a profitable. First of all, in the time way, like I said, is just not enough. If the contract ends in October 2026, like there's no way it's gonna happen, bro. Like, let's see, United States. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me pull up something real quick. Let's pull this up. And let's do this. Blow this up. All right. Move this out the way. So this is the United States. This is the United States. Most of the United States is rural. Most of this is just all middle America rural shit. All this green shit is rural shit. So once we get outside of Chicago, you can just tell where there's population at. It's white. It's just populated. Boom. As soon as we get out to the far south suburbs, you just got all rural, just nothing. Look how much rural it is. This is all rural. So much rural ass shit in this country. It's rural. And then you got these little bitty towns in the middle of nowhere. And all these towns have a post office, right? Why would Amazon just build infrastructure? And how would they do it? How would they do it? It's just too much nothing. It's just too much nothing. And this is for the whole United States. All this green is just rural areas. You know the major populated area because the color changes. You got white. Trying to make it to the point where you can see it. Obviously over here, this brown is more rural. Over here, you got desert. There's just nothing there. You got little bitty towns with nothing. But every single little bitty town has a post office. It's just nothing. Most of this country is rural. So, smart individual thinks. That's why I don't know why the other content creator wouldn't jump the gun and just said that, because that's all it does is builds people hope up. A smart person is going to be like, it's impossible. How are they going to build infrastructure to cover all this shit in 10 months? It's not going to happen. The contract is going to absolutely positively be renewed. The United States Postal Service has places in all these areas is because it's 250 years in the making. It's 250 years the post office has been in existence. Not gonna happen, bro. Do I think Amazon can cut out the post office and put more work on what was that DSPs and flex drivers? No. All right, let's look at it from a DSP perspective. Like I said earlier, you got DSPs that are struggling with the metric system in local areas. So when we look at it from a legal perspective, how long does it take some of you guys that do Amazon Relay to drive out to your first and your last stop? How far is your farthest stop? So now you calculate. Now, what do we know about the DSP drivers? They're employees. So now there's a time constraint, right? They have to travel out to the middle of America nowhere. They have to travel back, right? So now their delivery route is not going to be as efficient as it could be because probably half of their shift, depending on how far out they got to go, is spent traveling to and from. So they're going to travel 2 hours or an hour and a half or 3 hours, depending on how far they got to go out, which is going to limit the amount of stops they got to do because they have to travel back. Because they're on the time clock. They're not a contractor. They're an employee, right? So a lot of their hourly pay is going to be dead time just driving to and from. So now from a cost perspective from Amazon and the DSP, it's just not efficient. Now, as far as a flex driver is concerned, let's look at it from that aspect. What are they paying flex drivers here in the city? It's real competitive. How much would you need to pay a flex driver to make it attractive for them to take something from a center, a sort center, a distribution center, a domicile, whatever you guys call it over at Amazon, way out 2.5, 3 hours away, and then do a route that is probably going to have not that many pieces, right? Because what do we know? It's less volume, it's less density out there. It's not like they're grabbing a bunch of shit and then they're going to a town and they're just doing hella deliveries. They're probably going to have to make stops every town along the way, but then these towns might be 5, 10, 15, 20 miles apart. Like I would believe that you may go into some of these small towns that may have a very low population where you may probably only make 1 or 2 deliveries. So now you got a flex driver that's driving far out, and each stop is far apart. Each stop may be 20, 30 minutes apart from each other. Like financially, it doesn't make sense, right? Now, from a post office perspective, every zip code has a post office. And then the relay driver just comes, they do a stop, they drop off a pallet, and then that shit gets distributed in a route that the letter carriers already have. These letter carriers are already on these routes in these rural areas. So to me, honestly, just thinking logically, when I look at a map of the United States and just having common sense and then looking at the date of the expiration of the contract, we know they can't rely on FedEx. All right, so we're going to use the process of elimination. We know they can't rely on FedEx, right? We know they can't rely on UPS. So who else are they going to go to? We know from a cost perspective, it doesn't make sense for them to do it in-house because guess what? Throughout all these years that they've been building their infrastructure, they haven't broke ground in rural areas. Why? Because, they got smart people up there that make millions and millions of dollars a year. They're smart. They know that building infrastructure in these rural areas is going to be at a loss. They have the data. They know they don't deliver that much volume out there. So is it the only way I see Amazon building infrastructure in really, really rural areas
is if volume picks up and makes it worth the while. If volume picks up in these rural areas, then absolutely. But we know that's not going to happen because these rural areas don't have a population to justify volume picking up. Think about it. You go to a town and you drop off, you do relay at night, you go 5 or 6 stops, let's say. You drop off a pallet in a town. So one town may get 1 pallet. How many pallets do you think of Amazon e-commerce sales goods? How many pallets do you think, if we had to total up the number of pallets of just goods that are being delivered throughout the day in a city like Chicago or a city like New York, how many pallets? We wouldn't be able to guess. Probably, I don't know, maybe hundreds of thousands? Who knows? I don't know. There's just not much freight moving there to justify building a multi-million-dollar facility. Then who's gonna service the facility? I'm looking at this map. All I see is rural. It's not gonna happen, bro. I'm willing to take bets. I'll take a gentleman's bet. I'll take a money bet, but we got to put the money in escrow. I can't get taken it. I need my money this time. If I take any bets, man, we're gonna have to put the money in escrow, and we're gonna have to have a third party release the money to the winner when the contract gets signed or whatever in October. We're gonna have to put it in escrow, and we're gonna have to have a third party release the money to the winner. I'm willing to take a bet. I'll take a gentleman's bet. I'll take a cash bet because I know it's impossible. It's impossible. So, look up, what is this? Wapella, Illinois. I deliver 1 Sub-Zero out there 4 times a year. Wapella, Illinois? Wapella, Illinois. Wapella, Illinois. Yeah, that's way out in the middle of nowhere. Long way from Chicago. So this is Chicago up here. Wapella is way down here. A couple hours out on the way to Springfield, but looks like a nice little distance off I-55. So, yeah. Yep. What's up, Mark? I'm out here flexing in New Jersey, saving my way up to a truck. My fam is dispatched for relay, 10%. You said your fam is dispatched for relay? What do you mean? What do you mean your fam is dispatched for relay? What does that mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? So yeah, that's why I don't really jump on these Amazon stories like that, man, because it's just it's obvious. Like it's not really. It's obvious, man. It's like so obvious, man. Don't. First of all, it's the end of the year. Logistics is, it dies down at this time of the year. So it's slow news weeks. for logistics, right? Obviously, regular news, you got a lot of stuff going on. You got the Brown University thing. You got the thing over in Syria. You got, I think I read something else. Bobby Schmurder getting beat up. There's a bunch of other shit going on in the world. But as far as logistics, slow news weeks. It's going to have slow news weeks for probably the next 4 or 5 weeks. So, you throw out a nothing burger like this and then people get riled up and they don't use their common sense. That's why I didn't jump on it. But since people wanted me to talk about it, there you have it. I don't. To me, that's not news. It's what's known don't need to be explained. Post office can put these small stamp packages in mailboxes, and they're the only ones that can, since they're the only ones that handle actual mail, and they're obligated to service every address, right? It's part of the universal service obligation. Yep. So, yeah. So most of them rural areas also don't get but 2 or 3 bags. You would know better than me. I'm just use common sense. You know what I'm saying? I know just from, traveling, on the road and going long stretches of nothing. And when you see the exit of these little bitty towns, population 600 people, population 9,000 people, population for whatever the population is, you just know there's not that much volume that's going through there. So from a business perspective, would you go start a company in a small town like that? Would you go start a local delivery service in a town like that? A smart person wouldn't. Why would we go build a delivery network in a small town or centralize it in an area where there's a bunch of small towns around? Even collectively, if we centrally locate these centers throughout the country, right, where we can service a radius of small towns, it's still probably not worth it. Still probably not worth it. I know it's not worth it. So that's why it's not done. FedEx hasn't done it. They were in existence prior to to Amazon. UPS hasn't done it. They were in existence prior to Amazon. Why haven't they done it? It's not, they're going to do it at a loss. No, it's not profitable. It's not profitable. So UPS and FedEx, they'll go out a nice little distance, right? Obviously, they'll service the rural areas outside of metropolitan areas, and they'll go a nice little distance. But once that distance becomes unprofitable, they stop and then they pass it along to the Postal Service. So, all right. Basically, you're a driver under your uncle's account. He'll dispatch me for 10%. Your uncle's going to charge you to drive Amazon for him in your truck, and he's going to dispatch you for 10%. Okay. My question is you is why you just don't dispatch yourself? That's my question for you. 312-772-5483. Why you don't dispatch yourself? 10% is that's a lot of margin, bro. Like, you guys give up 10% like it ain't nothing, bro. Like, y'all, the way y'all throw 10% around is crazy to me, bro. y'all say 10% like that ain't nothing, and like that's 10% is a lot. 10% is a lot, bro. That's a lot of money to give up for something that I can really just do myself. Yeah, yeah, things that I can do myself. I don't. When it comes to business, Like dispatching is something you can do yourself. Like I would keep that money in house. Increase your profit margin with 10%. I wouldn't give up 10%. A little more time, you know? So you said you'll call up, but you're with company. I'm with company. Okay. All right, 312-772-5483. We'll turn the timer on. I know I was supposed to do a call-in show last night, but I didn't feel like it. I thought about it. And I'm just like, man, I don't know, bro. Maybe next week. If not this Sunday, then that'll be it for this year. You know, the last one I did in November would be the last one for the year. Maybe I'll feel like doing it this Sunday. Last night I just didn't want to be bothered with it. I didn't want to be bothered with it. So da, 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 da. Amazon doesn't have a universal service obligation, and developing one likely won't be profitable for them to begin with. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Shout out to follower of Jesus. Appreciate you. So you never knew Jeff Bezos owned the Post? Yeah, he bought it. Ooh, probably back like maybe 2018, 2019, I think. Let me see. I think 2018, 2019. When did Jeff Bezos buy Washington Post? Oh, wow. It was even before that. Jeez, time flies. 2013, he bought it for $250 million. Yep. Sale closed October 1st, 2013. It was private company Nash Holdings, ending 80 years of Graham family ownership. Yep, he bought it back in 2013 for $250 million. Mm-hmm. Yep, sure did. Yeah, so that the Washington Post throwing that story out, just to throw some shit out to get people talking, bro. Like, man, there's nothing to talk about, bro. It's don't need to be explained. They're not going nowhere. Where they gonna go? What I know about the prairie back in the day over on Van Vlissingen, that's over in the hundreds off 127th, that little street that go on an angle, bro. Come on, bro. You talking to Big Mark, bro. Listen, bro. Listen. I ran these streets, bro. Out here in Chicago, I ran these streets, bro. I don't run them no more. But in my day, I ran the streets, bro. I ran the streets, bro. I know where Van Vlissingen is, bro. It's a street. It don't really go far. It breaks off on an angle off 127th. Goes on an angle, bro. You are 100% right, Mark. But coming from Amazon, that's making $140 profit a day. Let me see. Let me get this out the way.
Why does this keep popping up? Let me take it off. There you go. All right, you're all right, 100% right, Mark. But coming from Amazon, does making $140 profit a day, I can double that plus more with just paying that 10% and bringing my own truck. Okay. All right. Me, I like to make all the money, bro. That's just me, bro. I like 10% is a lot, you know. I look at 10% for me to just get on a load board and book my own loads. To me, I can keep me personally. I just look at it like, okay, that's something I could keep in my pocket. When I went OTR, I fired my dispatcher, figured out do all my loads in my downtime. Hmm. Hmm. Is it just me or does box truck content feel like it just kind of got boring? Like what happened to this? What happened to this space, bro? Like honestly, what really happened to it? What happened to this space? Outside of the fact that the hype died down, why do people not do content anymore? I'm seriously asking. I'm not trying to be funny or nothing. I'm just curious. Ran just ran Amazon dispatchers have no work for real dispatchers ain't doing nothing but going to the load board, booking you a load. Pretty much. I mean, if you have a use case for somebody to do that for you for whatever reason, maybe to save you time. But if you're not here's how I look at that, bro. If it's saving you time and you're utilizing that time to make more money, if that time that you're spending booking loads, you can utilize that same time making money somewhere else, then that's one thing. If you're paying 10% just to be paying it, and the time that they're booking you loads, you could be booking your own loads, or that you're paying them that 10%, and that time that you could have been booking your own loads, you're not utilizing that time somewhere else making more money, then to me it just makes it just doesn't make it make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. So yeah. Well, here's the thing as far as the content. I'm gonna be honest with you. In this space, you have to actually enjoy doing it. And there's overall, I like doing it. Obviously, there's some times where I don't want to say I like doing it for the most part. There's times where I listen to some of these stories and I'll just be like, man, this shit, it'll give me a headache. But overall, in this space, you gotta enjoy doing it because unlike other spaces where content creators do it to make money and cover their cost of living, you're not gonna get that from this space. It's just not enough interest in this space. It's not enough to cover in this space. And because of that, it financially is not rewarding, right? So if you come into this space with the idea of making money, then that's the wrong idea to have. You got to really, really enjoy it.
in order to do it. Your purpose has to be something else other than money. So I get why people may, the people that may have been money driven have gone. But if you came in to provide information, I mean, you can still provide information like this Amazon information. I mean, there's creators that just focus on Amazon. I always like to come in and get my little 2 cents, but that's after I listen to other people get their 2 cents and hear what they have to say, and then I'll come around and just, when it comes to Amazon, I'll do my little, you know, you know, my little thing when it comes to Amazon, but I don't want to be the only person doing this, to be honest with you. You know, I don't want to be the only person doing it. Yeah. So I don't think I killed the competition. I think I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we're in an economy right now where people have to work. Then that's another thing. Like it takes time to do this. Like it's not something that you know, like this is time. And the more you take it serious, the more time it takes. Like there's some people who can just turn their phone on and just talk. Obviously, there's no preparation for that. There's no production for that. Me, there's time. There's like every time I come on, there's preparation, at least 2 hours of preparation before, right? As far as you know, production, building the production in. The cameras are already set positioned, but sometimes they get knocked out of place if the RoboVac is roaming through and it bumps one of the tripods, it gets knocked, or if I am Swiffering or something, it gets thrown off. So then you got to reposition everything. You got to get the leveler and make sure everything's leveled. You know, uh, the screens as far as positioning what screen is gonna show when I share a screen, where it's gonna pop up. You gotta program that. Uh, and just other production shit with all this shit, for the most part it stays in, but sometimes, like the software gets updated, it'll knock some shit out. These will get updated, that'll knock shit out. This will get updated, it'll knock shit out. Apple will do an update, it'll knock shit out. The screen in the back with my logo and name, sometimes instead of extending it, it'll go somewhere else or something shit. So there's a lot of shit that has to go into this before I even hit the go live button. And that takes 2 hours sometimes. And then like if it's a day where I have to have my talking points, I'll just jot my talking points down in my notepad, and that takes about 20-30 minutes. All right, what I'm gonna talk about, and then I'll just do my talking points, and then I have my talking points so I'll know how to expound on whatever it is that I want to talk about. That takes about 30 minutes. And then, getting this shit together could take about 2 hours, and then you're streaming for 2 hours. Now I know I'm the only person who streams for the most part. I brought streaming to the space. But like when I look at it, I was looking at because I don't watch the content. There's no use for me to watch the content. I'm not trying to learn nothing, but I saw like the box truck couple, they don't do shit no more. And then random shit used to just pop up. Nothing random pops up anymore. Even Vic, his upload schedule is not as aggressive and often as it used to be. So yeah. Yeah. Uh I like I really enjoy the conversations and the debates. People didn't like the debates, like content creators didn't like the debates, but when you look at every other space has debates. I don't know why they ain't like the debates over here. You know what I'm saying? But it's a space. You're gonna have differences of opinion. A lot of these guys used to take the shit too serious. It's information, bro. This ain't street shit, bro. So I kind of miss, you know, I don't want to say having the informational wars, but yeah, kind of. Like those debates were cool because I think it's healthy. Um, but I think for the most part, people just it's just not. It's I guess if people don't feel like the time it takes to put into the content, they're not being you know, even, getting rewarded with people watching it or likes, then yeah, people gonna fade out. The space from the consumer, the viewer perspective has gone down tremendously. You can just look. Vic got 100,000 subs. His videos do like 2,000 views now, and that's Amazon. So there's a lot of the interest has gone away. I'm averaging about 1,000 views, and I got about half of the subscribers that he has. So it's about right. So, I have some videos that'll do better. You know what I'm saying? I'll get maybe 2,000 on, but those are all the entry level stuff. Like if I do top 7 final mile carriers, that'll do good. Right. But if I talk about something that's a little bit more intermediate and advanced, which a lot of the stuff I talk about is more intermediate and advanced, then it's just going to be the core audience. Right. Those people that aren't looking for intermediate and advanced information, they don't watch that. Like, so even with the entry level content, it's just not there anymore. So just not that this space is just dead. So you can't really blame people for walking away, because if you're going to do a video, you're going to take the time to do a video and it's just going to get 100 views or 200 views, then yeah, you can't really say you blame them. I'm not saying that these people should come back. I'm just saying that the space does feel different. And I'm speaking because I started in this space in 2022 during the decline, or not even the decline, during the bubble bursting. And I've just seen just over the course of the last 3 years how it has just, the interest has just slowly gone down. You see little peaks over the course of the last 3.5 years. There have been little peaks like around tax season. First of the year, it's usually busy because then you got all the, first of the year, I'm gonna pay attention in January. We're gonna look and see how those streams go. First of the year, you got a lot of, I call them, what do you call resolution watchers? This is like when you go to the gym on January 2nd. You got all these new people in the gym, and it's hard for you to get a machine because these are the New Year's resolution people, and then they fade away. By February, March, you don't see them no more, right? But in January, you got a lot of new people in the gym. The gym is really crowded. Beginning of the year, you got new resolution watchers, right? These are people who are waiting for tax season. They starting the year off right. I'm gonna start the year off right, doing my research. I'm gonna get my box truck business because they waiting. It's January. They filing their taxes. They gonna get their taxes before the end of January. So then they start to do the research. They get their tax money. The views are consistent throughout February. And then on top of that, you got a lot of guys that are in the space that, didn't know that January was going to be January, what a veteran or a person that has seen a January. And so they go back to look for information to figure out what's going on. Then you got people that are just in the space in general that, are getting by, they doing good, and it's just slower. So they got more time to watch content. So you got all those variables that go into play in January and February, which I've seen, viewership go up, but then by March, April, starts to go back down because those tax people that came in January, a large portion of them have failed already because they came in with limited resources, which was a couple $1,000s in taxes. and you know that shit that came and gone. So they stopped watching. The people who are more veteran people, those are individuals that are, I don't want to call them fair weather, but they'll tap in here and there. And then you just see it go down. So that's just how the space is. So, and then there's less people coming in every year in comparison to what it was 2-3 years, about 3-4 years ago, I should say. So there's going to be less tax people coming in this year than it was the year before. I saw less hype around tax season last year in comparison to the year before that. So even the tax season, I see less interest in the space over the course of the year. So it's probably going to be less interest this year, so. Like J-Who. I ain't seen J-Who in here in at least 3 or 4 months. Where you been at? Chucky said content creators don't like to debate because it exposes their content faults and that would ruin their subscription service. I agree. And I used to use that obviously to my advantage. So yeah, you're right. I agree. You can continue to do this niche for years to come because people will continue to not know CPM or SOPs. And I agree. But it does become repetitive. It becomes repetitive. Obviously, you're going to get different scenarios where some are going to be worse than the others, right? And then you'll be able to get those, those magical moments like the 28-year-old kid who wanted to lease on with 3 trucks and he didn't have any money, or talk to me nice, or you'll get your NW lose here and there. You'll get those very, very memorable moments. You'll get a few of those, or your dizzies. You'll get a few of those, but think about it. Most of those memorable moments came in 23, 24. What memorable moments did we have from this year? We got a few, but not like last year and the year before that. Like we got some really, like Dizzy, that was 2024. Believe it or not, that was 2024. Time is flying. NW Lou, that was 2024. Talk to Me Nice, that was 2024. The 28-year-old kid, that was the beginning of that was tax season, 2024. That was like March of 2024. Was that March of 2024 or was that 2023? Let me see videos, popular videos, popular. That was this guy here. That was August 29th. So I put the clip up in August of last year, and that actual call-in show was March of 2024. They're gonna be looking for you.
That's fine, because they're going to be on the load board, and I'm going to be under a company. That's
but
fine.
This company is telling you
with my dedicated free. That's fine.
This company telling you 7,000 a week, fam. That's not real. Hold on, this was the classic moment right here.
Yeah.
This is my favorite moment in this one. Hold on.
Joe behind on that truck.
Hold on. Where is it at? It was like.
Let me ask you a simple question.
Let's take it back. You said go back. You said run it back. So
You're gonna fail.
3 drivers.
Bro,
I got enough to put 2 on the road.
You're gonna fail, man. What part of listen to me? I don't know how many other ways to say it. You don't know how to run one truck.
Okay, so wait. So you said
let me ask you a simple question.
Let's take it back. You said go back. You said run the bag up, get the job, say get another job, and then so then
if you want to start the business, run your bag up. While you running your bag up, educate yourself on this business. So that when you do come out to start, you come out and you get your behind on that truck and you run over the road.
So I gotta drive first.
See, this is the ignorance. See, these classic moments, you don't get this shit no more. This level of ignorance, you don't get this shit no more. You can't get this. Like, I don't think I got nothing this year that topped this. This dude think he was gonna come out here with never getting on the truck and was gonna run up a bag without never having to get on the truck and not know nothing about it. So I gotta get on the truck first. Like that type of shit, we ain't getting none of that this year. We ain't getting none of that this year. So we ain't getting none of that. See, he was waiting on that tax money. That's that tax money shit. We ain't getting none of that this year. So yeah. So yeah. You said we got to pivot to red pill, bro. If I pivot to red pill, bro, I would never be able to leave out the house no more, bro. If I lived in middle America, like some of y'all, yeah, I could do it. Most of these people that do red pill content, that do all this, where they, speak their mind and they say certain things, they live in middle America, bro. Like I would never have peace. If I said some shit, I would never have peace, bro. So I can't do that type of content, bro. I can't. I remember telling the content creator when I first came in, he said, man, you live in ain't nobody. I said, bro, you don't live here. You can't tell me what'll happen, bro. You don't know, bro. You know, people here get shot for nothing. And the thing is you can say something and a person will get upset based on something that's your opinion. And the thing is everybody knows you. You don't know them. You don't know them. So, I wouldn't do red pill content. I wouldn't do any type of content that, is that's why I don't talk about certain things. Chicago is a content mecca. That's why you got a lot of people that don't live here come here for content. ICE, they were all outside the ICE facility, getting thousands and millions of views. Nick Shirley, Cam Higbee, all these guys were here at the ICE detention center back in October, just streaming. When Tiffany Henyard was going viral, everybody was coming here going to Dalton, streaming those Dalton board meetings because it was national news. The crime here, national news. And just all the other viral, news stories that come out of Chicago. Kanika Jenkins, the lady a few weeks ago who got beat up and jumped by the kids. All that stuff is here, and I don't touch it, because it's too close to home. And we had this conversation in the Discord, and somebody mentioned, I noticed that none of the Chicago creators cover Chicago politics. It's all outsiders. It's too close to home, bro. So you can't, it's easier to talk about something when you ain't got to roam these streets. So if I would have talked about, let's say, those kids that jumped on that lady, you already know what I would have said. But here's the thing. I'm roaming the streets. I don't know who these people are, but they know me. So you'll never see it coming. That's why you don't see a lot of people from here cover a lot of those topics. And the ones that you do see do it, they looking to get a name and they willing to crash out. And we've had creators here that have touched certain topics and they've been unalived.
And I mean, we don't got to name no. I mean, we can name one. Look at, and that's a conspiracy. So I ain't even gonna name his name because we don't know if that was because of what he was talking about. But there's one, that a lot of people know. So it ain't worth it, bro. You said most of them live in Miami and Vegas. Yeah, a lot of creators have relocated to Miami. Miami has become a hub for like creators. You see, Fresh and Fit. Who else? Like Mr. Organic went out there. Bandman went out there. Who else is out there? The guy who do all the car videos when he walk and ask the chick for the number, then he walk back to the car, and then they turn around and come back and try to talk to him. It's easy to become a creator out there, especially if you're using visual tools. Like I think I talked about it a few weeks ago. Like a lot of those guys that go out there in Miami and get their start is because the tools especially in those lifestyle niches and like the car niches, you can go out there with a couple bands and fake it till you make it until you go viral, and then the money starts to come in. Because you can go out in Miami, you can rent a Urus out there for $750 a day. Can't rent a Urus here for $750 a day. So you can go out there, rent a Urus, let's say for $750 a day, right? And you can go rent a nice Airbnb, right? Because the competition for luxury car rentals and exotic Airbnbs is a lot more competition in that market than, let's say, a market like New York, Chicago, Houston, Atlanta, so on and so forth. Everybody out there is competing, so competition drives down price. That's why you can go rent a Urus for $750. Get your little outfits together, and a person will go rent a Urus, a nice Airbnb, get them a few outfits, so they might be a few bands in, and then they shoot for 24 hours. But they shoot and they change outfits and they do different scenes and they have different locations because they got to get as much content out while they have these rentals in their possession that day to carry them for maybe a month. They'll shoot as much content as they can in 24 hours, and then they'll just slow release it. And they don't have to release it as often because this content is going viral because they're in an Airbnb and they're showing you a Lamborghini and the viewers are eating it up. So those views, they get views on that, and then they'll carry them, and then next week they come with something else. They may have a different outfit on, different location, but all that shit was shot the same day. So for people that do lifestyle content, it's more cost effective from a business perspective to go to that location. That's why I tell people all the time, like from a business perspective, like a lot of people that are struggling, you may have to lower your cost of living. Lowering your cost of living may require you to change your location. You may have to move. So in this aspect, for a person who wants to be like a full-time content creator, like those guys that are in that niche, and they're working with limited resources as far as capital is concerned, it's more cost effective for them to go to Miami than stay where they're at. And then a lot of them come from small markets anyway. I forget, buddy. One of them buddies is from like Kentucky. They don't even come from big markets to begin with. So yeah, so shit, I got the blueprint. Yeah, I already know what they're doing. You said good weather. Yeah, good weather. Vegas was a hub, but I think Vegas is dying because it's just not. I don't know as far as consumers, it's dying. I don't know about creators, but yeah, Vegas was one of the spots too at one point. You said I've been in Mexico. Oh, you went to Mexico. Just got back from vacation. Playa del Carmen. You got to go. I've never been to Playa del Carmen. I've been to Cancun a bunch of times. I've been to Cabo. I like Cabo. I like Cancun too, because I like to go to La Vaquita. So whenever I dip off to Cancun, I gotta go to La Vaquita. That's my spot. And I like Cabo. Cabo is just really, really expensive, but out of Mexico, Cabo is my first choice. But when I like to party, I go to Cancun. Cause La Vaquita, I'll go to Cancun for like, I go for a weekend, and every night I go to La Vaquita. So they got a La Vaquita in Cabo too, but the one in Cancun is more turnt. You can go to La Vaquita, and you said Cabo. You can't go in the water. I don't go in the water nowhere. Nowhere I go do I get in the water. I get in the pool. I'll walk the beach, the sand, but I don't get in the water. I get in the pool. I don't get in no water. I get in the pool, bro. So last time I went to Cabo, I ain't getting in the water. I get in the pool, you know. So, yep. Most red pill. What really happened with Kay Jenkins? I don't know, bro. You know, that's a you know, I have my thoughts on it, but that's not something I want to talk about on the internet. I know her mama been spazzing out lately. Her mama been tweaking. I don't know what her mama. Something wrong. Something going on with her OG. She been tweaking lately, but yeah. So Chucky said, "Only water. That's the only water I get into. I don't get in no oceans or beaches in no country. I just whatever the resort pools that they got. I get into different pools. The swim up bar pool, the regular pool, the other pool. I get in the pools, but the most you're gonna catch me with that ocean water is walking. I might put my toe right at the edge of it, and then that's it. That's it." I'm not doing too much out there. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I forgot where I was at. I was somewhere in one of these countries. Where was I at? I can't remember. I did get on a boat and took it out to like this little private island. Damn, where was I at? And that was doing too much. So I don't like to. And some of these excursions, when you know I know I was on an excursion in one country, and we was ATVing, and then we had this long bridge that went over this canyon. It was like a bridge that was like a weird bridge, and it was shaking and shit. I don't remember where I was at, and it was like a canyon. I'm like, well, what if this thing? I had to go, so everybody was waiting on me. It was people still behind me, the other ATVs. The chick I was dating at the time, and I just closed my eyes and just like I don't like heights and shit like that. And I don't like that shit. Jet ski is a must. Mark, are you doing a Carnival cruise? No, I've never been on a cruise. I don't do cruises. Cruises are for old people and people who can't afford to go on a real vacation. And I ain't don't get offended, but I mean $200 for 4 or 5 days is crazy. So $200 for 4 or 5 days, like what you like to me, I'm looking at that's it. You did up $250 for 4 days. That's it. Ain't no, that's not something. I see why 4 of them been on Carnival Cruise tearing that shit up. Hell no, I ain't been on no cruise. I ain't old. Cruises was once reserved for old people, but 4 of them done took that shit over. And not 4 of them from Chicago, 4 of them from everywhere. Like people that really can't go nowhere, that really shouldn't be going nowhere. That's like they way to go somewhere now. Cause that shit like $250. So they be on there doing the What's the song? Wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby. They be on the cruise ship, and the old white people who traditionally the cruises is for the old white people, the old black people be looking like, man, what's going on? We've been taking cruises for 20 years. What has the culture has changed on the cruise? Four of them done took over the cruise. Four of them done took over the cruise. They doing the wobble baby on the cruise. And what was the other one from a year or two ago with the Cowboys? What was that shit called? The boot song, whatever. They doing that shit. No, couldn't pay me to go on a cruise. Couldn't pay me to go on a cruise. Cool kid must be late to the party contract, and we already said that ends in October. We already said that about 10 times. I don't care if the contract ended in December, they wouldn't be able to do nothing. But what they got to do is still sign a new contract. Ain't shit they can do in 12 months. The Cupid Shuffle, yeah, they doing that shit on there. Hell no, I'm not getting on that shit. And then even if it wasn't ghetto and for old people, I don't want to be just in the middle of the water for 6-7 days, bro. I'm straight. And I can swim, but like if something happens, if I'm on vacation, let's say I'm in Cancun or like I said, or Cabo or something. And let's say I'm on a 5-day, 4-night and something happens back at home, day 1 or day 2, I could just book a flight. I'll forfeit the other days and I could book a flight and come back home. If I'm on a ship, ain't shit I can do. The ship ain't gonna turn around for me. I just can't. I don't want to be somewhere where I'm just out in the water for so many days and there's just nothing I can do. Even if I want to leave and come, even if I'm on a vacation and nothing's happening back at home, like no emergency, I just be like, man, fuck this shit. I'm ready to go home. And I change my flight. I can change my flight and leave. When you're on a cruise, you can't do that. So. You know. You say you island hopping. Yeah, I remember I was in Jamaica and I seen one of the cruise ships and the people came up off the cruise ship and I guess they got to go inland for like a day and then they had to be back in a certain time and shit like that. Nah, fuck all that, bro. We just go straight to the island. I don't want to be on no cruise ship 6 days and just on the ship and if I want to get off, I can't. Bro, I can't do that. Mm-mm. Yep, so. Yeah, so. It's dangerous in the ocean. You see what happened to Malcolm Jamal Water. That's where he was at. Where was he at? Where was he at? He was somewhere in Mexico, right? He was somewhere in Mexico. The Whatever podcast is in California. Yeah, I watched that podcast a couple times. I think I was watching it one time with I forgot, buddy, the Saint in the Center or somebody was on there. One time I caught it. But no, I wouldn't transition into Red Pill. He was in Costa Rica, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't transition to Red Pill. Probably more just business. Just more general business instead of just box truck business. I think, to be honest with you, I just think box truck, I think the space is just going to continue to go in the direction it's going. Yeah, I'm going to still continue to do it. But if I did do a transition, it would just be a parallel. It would just be general business, which, even the people that already follow for box truck content would still get the value out of it. It'd just be general business, just regular business, economics. It just wouldn't be confined to box trucks, and then I would do the box truck content still too. You gotta do an after hours Red Pill with a bunch of Chicago girls. I was thinking about, like I said the other day, building out another studio. like I like when I was doing the process of building this one out, it was pretty cool. Like doing the design and figuring out how I wanted to do it and the color scheme and things of that nature. So I kind of want to build out. Um, I want to get like another space and then partition it and build like maybe 2 more studios, and then I can do like a conversational pit with the kind of that idea. I did have like that type of idea where I can just do those conversations. Because see, I don't want to do it just from my perspective. I want to have the conversation, but I want to have it um live in the studio. So I was thinking about that. Um and then just building out another podcast studio. Cause I got some homies that want to get into it, do the video game streaming. Some want to do podcasts talking about some other shit, different genres and shit. So I was just thinking about doing the conversational pit and then like another maybe 2-3 person or maybe 5-6 person. Like podcast table setup, similar setup, kind of like I don't want to say fresh and fit, but similar to that, where you got maybe like 4 to 6 people at a table like that. So, but it got to make sense, in order for me to do it, because I don't want to invest into the build out and those shows don't go into fruition. Because if I did that, then I would have to make my money. Like this right here, I'm okay with absorbing this. I'm cool with absorbing this because I'm talking about something that I really, really enjoy talking about. And then I could just write off the losses because this studio is built into my home, right? And there's a cost that is associated with this. So I can write this off. If I do that, it's going to be 100% like it's not going to be off the fact that I enjoy doing it. Like that has to turn into like a profitable thing. It has to. Right. So because I'm gonna have to the build out and then the production of it. If it's something that has more people involved, then I can't be the talent and then controlling the boards. Obviously, I would have to get more equipment. Right. I wouldn't be able to control the boards. I would need somebody to control the boards. Right. Engineering as far as producer. While we're recording that content, whether it's pre-recorded or live streamed. So yeah, it would be for profit. So you'll really see me man, y'all got a super chat, man. You'll see all the little things for people to what they be saying on them red pill shows, man. Y'all got to sponsor the show. Sponsor the show. All right, man. This super chat, man. You the sponsor of the show until somebody like all of that, because like I see why they do that over there, right? Because it takes a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. Like when I see Angry Man do it, like I watch Angry Man a lot. I understand why he does it. I didn't understand it then because I wasn't in the space then, but I understand now why Kevin Samuels did it. You know what I'm saying? So you say I'm finding my niche. Listen, if I went into red pill, if I went into like red pill, like if I jumped into that black manosphere with like Ton, Angry Man, like Fatty, even like Lead Attorney will touch on some things. That just that whole atmosphere where you talk about current events cultural events, current events, the culture. In comparison to them, I would definitely come from a different perspective, and I think I could build an audience really, really quick. And I'm from Chicago. Like a lot of them talk Chicago, but they don't live here. I think I could build an audience really, really quick. But I'm gonna be honest with you, that you see how hard and how much they work, it would become a job. It wouldn't be a hobby anymore. You know what I'm saying? It would really become a job because you have to stay abreast with everything, and you have to talk about that shit right then and there. You know what I'm saying? And that, like, look, Angry Man streams sometimes 2-3 times a day. Anton is pretty much streaming some days twice a day, 10 hours a day. You figure 3 hours in the morning, you might do 3-4 hours in the evening, and then you're dropping clips on each channel every 3 hours, right? That's a lot of work. But, you know, this is why these guys make $250,000 a month off of YouTube. You know, so, you know, like that's a lot of commitment, bro. King AK-47. Well, I don't watch him a lot because he talks more about like drill culture, and he does like a lot of the Dirk stuff, and I don't really like watching that type of stuff, you know, as far as updates on like drill rappers and their court cases, and like I'm not consuming that type of information. You know, if I click on him, it's not for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I see him pop up in my algorithm from time to time. But yeah, him. Who else? Who else have I watch or listen to in the background? Obviously academics, like, you know, I listen to academics. You know, his commentary is really good because he's one of the pioneers. I don't listen to the Joe Budden podcast. To me, I don't really care for it. I listen to a lot of Flacco. I listen to him in the background. If I do want some updates on like Chicago, I hate to say as far as the drill shit and just what's going on and you know, out as far as the news is concerned, I may listen to Trap Lil Ross, or like Truth Teller, something like that, because he's from the city. Uh, uh, but other than that, I'm watching like I'm listening to like Meet Kevin. You know, Candace Owens. You know, I can like when I'm in the gym, because normally I'm in the gym when Candace Owens is on. Like I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to Candace Owens because she usually normally on when I'm in the gym. So I'll listen to her podcast the first hour. I'm in the gym 2 hours. And then the second hour, I'll, you know, if Angry Man is on, I'll balance it out with some cultural shit. You know, so I'm not watching them, I'm listening to them. Yeah, so. Yeah, so. Economics is a great lane, good insight in those prior investment series. Yeah, so the investment series, the reason why I never came back, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I was disappointed in a lot of y'all. I was disappointed when I told y'all, because I had so the portfolio that I was doing for the investment series was for that series. And we ran it up. And when I said, yo, so people who's watching, you can go back. I said, yo, I don't like how this feels. I told y'all, I said, look, I don't like this. This feels weird. The cycle feels, you go watch it. It's still up if you're in the members only. It should seem like it's running in reverse. I said that. Normally the The meme coins are the last ones to run, and it's one of the indicators that the rug is about to get pulled, right? It goes layer ones, alts, memes. The memes were running at the beginning. The alts were running. It was like operating in reverse. Bitcoin was coming down and it was kind of stagnant and coming down because Grayscale was offloading because it was giving the people that had bought in a chance to go and buy in the ETF cheaper. But the memes are running. Bunk and all that shit. That never happened. Alts were running. Before layer ones. Remember, Bitcoin started to take its run towards the latter part. What did I say? I said, man, this cycle is running in reverse. I said, it don't feel right. I said, I'm finna start exiting out. And I remember it was a silence, like nobody said nothing in the chat. Go back and look. Like nobody said nothing. Because I know what people were thinking, like, man, you tweaking. And that was March of 2024. It's almost March of 2026. I guess I was right. There was never a second phase. They said, well, it's going to be a second phase of the bull run around election time. It wasn't. The only thing that ran was Trump coin, and that was a fluke. If you made money, you made money. If you didn't, you didn't. And here we are, December 2026. You still got some crypto influencers that are saying, yeah, man, we're still in the bull run. No, we're not. They're saying that, like Rand and Crypto Banter and all those guys, they're saying that because they have sponsorships. It's just like they're being incentivized to continue to give you that hope. Because the moment they say, yo, we're in a bear market, viewership goes down. So the sponsorships go away. They're not being transparent. And there's a lot of ignorant people that just listen to what influencers say. I talk about it all the time over here. You know, I can talk freely about, you know, cars and cribs because he finally talked about it on his channel. I'm not going to say the amount, but he mirrored everything that I did. Like he would literally hit me. Let me see. Shout out to Cars and Cribs. Let me see. Cars and Cribs. Let me see here. Cars and Cribs. Where's that video? Give me a second here. Let me find it. Here it is.
It's Rome, and we are back with another video. If you're at the house, put me on your big screen video, and if you're in the car, turn me up on your stereo. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe button also. Let's see if we can get this video to 1,000 likes. Let's see.
Why is this like this? Hold on. I don't like that. Give me a second. I don't like how that looks. Why did I'm a perfectionist, man. I can't have that. Why is my background? Hold on. Let's see. Why is I'm double? There we go. But you know what? Let's do it one better. Let's do this. So during that, because he's part of the MGM gang too, and he was following the investor series like most of y'all that's MGM members was following. And the thing was with him, we would talk every morning and he pretty much followed whatever I did. And even here, you didn't listen to me. So if I'm going to tell you how to run it up, I'm going to also tell you when it's time to walk away too. And that's what I did. Just nobody walked away. I can talk about it now. Hindsight is 2020. I was right. It's just nobody listens. So like, I'm not gonna do something like that again because I put the money in your hand, but it doesn't last forever. Listen, it's time to walk away. Just nobody walked away. But he came out with this video maybe like a few months ago.
We can do it. It's been a very long time since we got 1,000 likes. I'm trying to go out here and get right. So, in the last video, I told you guys what's going on, what I've been doing, why I've been doing gig work. I've been focused more on trading. So, I think that it's only right that I tell you guys my trading journey. And boy, wait till y'all hear this. This is going to be crazy. So, it's very important that we understand context on where I was and where I am now. And just so you guys know, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice because I barely even know what I'm doing. You guys are going to find out everything that I know. So just stay here so we can let's go. Now, it all started back in 2022. For those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, you know that I bought a Bitcoin and some Ethereums back in 2022. I actually bought the Bitcoin on the channel. Some Ethereum, I had the Ethereum first. I had like 4 Ethereum. So boom, I got the Ethereums, I got the Bitcoin. Mind you, I don't know really nothing about crypto. All I know is everybody talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and I'm seeing it. And I didn't know that we were in the bull run previously to that. I didn't know that. So I got the Bitcoin. I keep the Bitcoin, I don't sell it. I keep the Ethereum, I don't sell them. So boom, I got them. They chilling. Their joint start going up a little bit. Okay, cool. This joint getting me right? So then, previously I was always watching Mark the Mentor's channel because he always talked about cargo van business, and investments and stuff like that. So huge shout out to him. And we had the van. So I'm trying to find out different ways to make money with the van, and he's done this business before. So why not let's tune into his channel so I can find out everything I need to know. In the midst of that, he did bring up this thing called FET. I heard him say it on one of these videos. We in Rockford, Illinois. It's super dark outside. I'm talking about it's super dark outside. We picking up this load or dropping off one, either or, in the van, right? And then I hear him talk about, yeah, I invested some money in FET. My average cost is 20 cents or 8 cents or something crazy like that, right? I'm like, what is he talking?
So my average cost was 27 cents. 27 cents. I had started investing in it at 7 cents, and I was just DCAing it in every day. I had 100,000 of them. So I mean, the people that invest, I had been investing since 7 cents. My average cost was 27 cents, and I had 100,000 of them.
About. So I'm thinking, looking up stuff. I'm on Google like FET. What is FET? I'm thinking it's a stock, right? I'm looking up stocks, FET, stock, FET, because I kind of hear them say FET, but I really don't know what that is. So boom, I'm looking it up. I finally found it like some days later. I look at it, that joint like 70 something cent or 50 something. I can't even remember how much it was, right? So he said something about that, and he said something about Solana, right? So I'm still tuning in. I still didn't make no moves yet, right? I still got my...
I think when I first mentioned Solana, it was at $18. It was at $20.
Bitcoin and my Ethereums, I'm chilling. So then he started talking about investments a little bit. I'm like, man, I'm trying to get right. So this is what I do, right? Seize the moment. I make me a Cars and Crib Instagram just so he know exactly who I am, right? Make the Cars and Cribs Instagram, inbox him like, look, I got these, this Bitcoin, this Ethereum. Man, shout out to you doing your thing. I know it's not financial advice. He specifically said this is not financial advice. So I'm like, what would you do in this situation if you were me? If you had this Bitcoin and these Ethereum, what would you do? He's like, me personally, again, this is not financial advice. What I would do is I will sell the Bitcoin and Ethereums and put the profits and that money into other coins because you're going to make more money that way.
So I remember that DM. It was like early in the morning. he would DM me like 3, 4 in the morning, obviously pre-market. But that first DM I read, I think he sent to me like 1 in the morning. I read it like 3:30, 4 in the morning. And that's basically what I told him. I was like, man, this is not financial advice. I can't give you financial advice. Cause I didn't really know if it was him. Cause I'm looking at, he got 100,000 some subs on YouTube, and this Instagram page only got like a few a few followers or whatever. So I didn't know if it was really him, but I still responded. This is back in 2023, I believe. Yeah. So I still responded with what he said. Yo, this is what I would do. And I kind of knew he would not, it would be backlash, because what he said, I told him is what I told him. I would sell the Bitcoin. Now, a lot of people will probably be like, why would you sell your Bitcoin and Ethereum? And he's going to tell you what I told him.
So I'm like, okay, cool, bet. He told me coin like XRP and all that stuff. I was like, should I buy XRP? Because I remember he said something about XRP and wanted and that money into other do. He's like, me personally, again, this is not financial advice. What I would do is I would sell the Bitcoin and Ethereums and put the profits and that money into other coins, because you're going to make more money that way.
All right. So basically what I said, because I don't follow trends, I do the numbers. The reason why I said it is because Bitcoin was projected to go to 100,000. At that particular time, Bitcoin was like 30, 40,000, right? So I'm looking at multipliers. Like, okay, he got a Bitcoin, right? It's sitting at 30,000. If it goes, he bought it for 25,000, I think. It was sitting at like 35, 40,000 at the time. If it does go to $100,000, he's going to make $75,000. Cool, whoop-de-doo. But I'm looking at it like this. The things that I'm in are going to 1,000x, 100x. Like the multipliers are more. So now if you coming in with a Bitcoin that he bought at 25,000, he got $40 to play with. I'm going to invest that 40,000 into things that are going to bring me more money. I don't care about a Bitcoin. I don't care that it's Bitcoin and this is what everybody knows and it's going to go to 100,000. Everybody looking at this 100,000. I could take that 40,000 he got in that Bitcoin and put it into 10 different things that 100, 150, 200x and make $1 million. And it's the same should I be saying with the, like, I don't get caught up in holding on to stuff because it's a Bitcoin. Who cares? Is this going to give me a bigger return on my investment? So that's what I told him. Sell the Bitcoin. Sell the Bitcoin, sell the Ethereum. Let's see what he did.
So I'm like, okay, cool, bet. He told me coin like XRP and all that stuff. I was like, should I buy XRP? Because I remember he said something about XRP in one of them videos, because he had started doing like investment live streams for the members only. So I'm like, would you do that? Would you do this? Like, how would you do it? What would you do? He's like, yeah, this is what I do. Boom, boom. Okay, so boom. I'm like, okay, cool. So I want to say this. Majority of you watching this video right now, you're going to say that I was tweaking. And you're going to say Mark was tweaking too. Absolutely not. Under no circumstance do you sell your Bitcoin. He tripping. You should never listen to him and all this and all that. I know that's what you're going to say, right? So I listened to Mark. I actually was hitting him up on Instagram all the time, like every 2 days. Like, yeah, man, what you buying now? What you buying now? I'm like, matter of fact, brother, look. Is it cool if I get your number and I'm going to hit you up in the morning instead of me having to go all on Instagram, hit you up in the morning to try to see what you about to buy? Like, yeah, cool, I'll do that for you. I'm like, okay, cool, bet, right? Boom. I give Mark number every morning. I'm texting Mark, what you buying? What you buying? Double M, what you got going on? Good morning, Double M, what you on? Boom, boom. He'll tell me. I'm following Mark. Boom. Mark giving me the rundown, the plays, right? Busting the plays. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I know that y'all disagree. Some of you may disagree about that Bitcoin scenario, but he was right. I made way more money than I would have had if I would have kept it in Bitcoin. Honestly, I'm just going to tell you right now. I had the most money I ever had in my life at that particular time, ever.
I'm going to pull you on the big screen. Big Mark, listen, one thing about me, I know how to get to the money, man. And like he was saying, it was people telling him, don't sell the Bitcoin, don't listen to him, he's crazy. Goes back to what I was talking about last week, the numbers, bro. If he would have kept it in the Bitcoin, he would only make 75,000. So with him just saying that, you know he made more than 75,000. We talking about, I ain't gonna, because I don't, he was following me. So he's hitting me, like he said, every morning at 3:34 in the morning. He's hitting me every morning. He's texting me, what you doing? I'm telling him my plays. This is what I'm doing today. This is what I'm finna do, or I'm not finna do nothing. I just put this over here. I put that over there. I just, bought more of these. And everything that I'm doing, he's doing. The people that told him, don't listen to me and don't sell the Bitcoin, they just not smart people. You got $40,000 liquid right there. To just make another 60? No, I'm trying to make $1 million off this 40. What are you talking about? If I told you, which he told you the fact, I had 100,000, my average cost was 27 cents. I sold at $2 and something. Like 270, 260, 270. It topped out at 350. Do the math. That was just one. Now, take 40,000. Let's say he would have not diversified and just took that $40,000 and put it all in the FET. And it was 70 cents at the time. That would have given him 57,000 FET, 57,140. Now, let's say he would have sold that 57,140 when I think I sold it at like 270. That's $154,000. Now, if he would have kept it in a Bitcoin at the end of the year when Bitcoin topped out at 100,000, he bought in at 25,000, he would have made 75,000. So even if he would have just put it all into effect, he would have still doubled his money from what he would have originally got if he would have just kept it in Bitcoin. He made way more than that. Way more than that. Following Big Mark, you dig what I'm saying? Well, I'll let him finish telling you the story because I'm disappointed in him too. Shout out to my hater. My hater, as soon as we got to talking to the bread, you seen the haters come in with the dislike. Don't get mad because you fucked up out here in these streets because you didn't listen to Big Mark. Don't get mad. As soon as we get to talking about the money and somebody giving Big Mark this props on a big money play, here come the dislikes. These, let me pull up on the big screen because I got to talk to my haters for a second. Only a hater would dislike this. It's not even me talking. Only a motherfucker who is fucked up out here in these streets right now would be mad at something like this. Another black man giving a black man props. Because when the black man came to the black man in the DM, you know what I could have did? Ignored that shit. I didn't know this. I didn't know him. I could have ignored it. But this is the hate right here. This is the hate you see. Me, I ain't no hater. When he came to me, I didn't know him. I gave him the play. He listened. He hit me at 3:30 in the morning. Every morning I'm talking to him. I didn't know him. This is how I built the relationship as far as communicating with him. I could have kept him like, I don't know, buddy. I'm not finna give him. Why? Shit. It's enough money for everybody. Shit. If he do it, he do it. If he don't, he don't. But you got a hater in here that's upset because he's poor. Because he want to be a part of the circle. Instead of being like, Mark, I watch you, man. Help me like you help him. You rather just come here and hit the dislike button and be disgruntled. And I'm cool with it. That's why you in the position that you in. You going to stay in that position too. Because instead of being like, Mark, I want to run some plays, you rather just hate on the sideline. And I appreciate it too. Because you letting me know I'm doing something right. And you probably the person that probably going to bring me my Uber Eats later on tonight. But let's continue.
Full remark. Following Mark Plays. The most money I ever had, right?
Hold on. Let's go back.
I'll tell you right now. I had the most money I ever had in my life at that particular time. Ever. Fooling with Mark. Following Mark Plays. The most money I ever had, right? And my goal, I'm trying to get millions. And I'm like, this is the key right here. I've been waiting for this all my whole life. I can't wait. I've been chasing these money for this all these years, and it's finally about to happen. I always knew how to hustle. Always knew how to get money, but I needed that thing that was going to take me to that next level and make me these millions. And this was the thing. This is what I'm thinking. So boom. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm still following Mark Plays. Now, mind you, in the meantime, in between time, what I'm doing is this. I'm all on YouTube, seeing this person, seeing that person. I start nibbling. Sometimes you gotta start. I start nibbling, buying these little coins here, buying these little coins there. Sometimes they make money, and for the most part they lose money. They go up and then they come back down. So I'm still my main portfolio is following Mark. One day this happened, right? Mark do the live stream and say, "Look, y'all, something is off. I don't like the sentiment what's going on in the market. I'm about to get out. I'm about to sell these coins. I'm about to get out." I'm like, dang! Look, now mind you, I did not hit the millions yet. I did not hit the millions. I'm like, man, dang! This is my cue. He's like, he about to get out. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep rocking. I'm gonna keep going and see what happens. Boom! I keep going. Guess what happened? My portfolio started doing it in an array. I'm talking about, no, I still have my portfolio, but the numbers, the amounts, just start going down. It was like here, and it go like here. Look, man, I'm in the charts right now. It's critical. Look at this. I'm down $2,134 right now. Y'all would not believe, you would not believe this. Look, at first I was up like $1,500, then I was up $3,000, like $3,049. Then I went down all the way to negative $150. Then I went back up to $500 some dollars, and now I'm down $2,100. To the point where I have less money in my portfolio than I had when I initially started, when I bought the Bitcoins and the Ethereum. I have less than that. I'm like, dang.
It's gone. It's all gone.
So that was pretty much all y'all from that investment club, man. So that's why I just can't do it, bro. Like y'all gotta. The point is, if you want to run the money up, the way you run the money up is you run it up, but you gotta keep it. So if I'm gonna do it, you gotta listen. Y'all gotta listen. You dig what I'm saying? So you said this is why we need the content back, man, bro. Like, man, y'all get too attached, bro. Like, you gotta know when to move, bro. Making money in investments is sticking and moving, bro. I've been doing it too long, bro. I know patterns. I see patterns and shit like that. That's how I know how to stick and move, bro. I'm not holding on to nothing. Like, I don't hold on to nothing for dear life. Bro, if I would have held on to that during that time period, that particular those particular investments, I would be kicking myself because I know better. I know better. That's why I knew it was time. Man, that was a lot of money that was made in 4.5 months. There's people that's got to work with what he made following me. I would made more. But what he made following me, people got to work at least 3-4 years to make that type of money. And that's a person who's making more, you know, in upwards of $100,000 plus a year. Not a motherfucker who, you know, talking about some big money. So he was just a person that, you know, has a platform, and he actually talked about it. Everybody else that was part of that investment series circle, whatever it was called, whatever I was calling it, y'all did the same thing. Y'all held on. Like, nah, bro, like y'all held on, bro. You say you can't be mad at everyone, though, because everyone didn't invest at the same time. Don't use that as your decision to stop giving investment opinions. I don't know, bro. Here's the thing. The reason why I was upset was because y'all held on. And I told y'all it's time to go. More for him because I know he had a bigger bag than most people. There was somebody else in there that had made like 50 grand. You know, it was some people in there that made some money. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of upset, like, man, bro, like, this is life-changing money for y'all. Like, why are y'all, you know, like get up out of this shit. This shit is volatile. This is like, you know, like, no, bro, let's go. Y'all stayed. And I'm like, man, I don't know. That kind of, y'all kind of upset me with that, bro. So I don't want to be liable. I don't want to be liable. Here's the thing. The reason why I did it that time, because I knew it was nothing but upside. I didn't really have to hold people's hand. I just said, yo, this is what I'm doing. And I already knew it was upside. It's not something I would do right now. Right now it's too volatile, right? It was volatile then, but I knew we were in the midst of a bull run. So it was just me more so timing it perfectly, which I did. Because in March, April, it started, like right after I pulled out, like he said, it started to go down. I've been through enough cycles, both in stock and in crypto, to see indicators that a person who hasn't been through these cycles enough, they would know. When I said, yo, this don't feel right, something is off, that was an indicator for me. I couldn't pin it. I knew that the cycle was going in reverse, but me feeling, you know, that intuition or whatever, if that's the right word, yo, let me get the fuck up out of here. And I was right. Like right after that, he even said it. That shit went down and it never returned. That was over almost 2 years ago now. So now that money for everybody that was a part of the investment club should have been invested into other things that are making money. Stock market, you know, gold, whatever. Putting into something that's getting you a good rate of return. So it's still on the investor to do their due diligence. That's not Mark's responsibility. He's just letting us know his moves. Here's the thing, too. One day, I'm gonna be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I you know, I would hope not. You know, I make very, very sound, smart decisions, but I would hate one day for me to be wrong and then other people, because I'm looking at it like this. I've helped make people money and you didn't leave when I said I'm leaving. That, to me, I looked at that, like, to me, that was an indicator. To me, that was a sign to, like, not do this again. Yo, I see some profile. I seen his. It was somebody else's that was in that group that had literally started with like less than $1,000, maybe $1,000, and made 50. And then there was other people in there. So, like, And when I said, yo, it's time to get out, and nobody got out, to me, that, I'm like, yo. And then it went down, and it continued to go down, and it continued to go down. Then you guys got hope from Crypto Banter and all these other guys, and they said, well, November, around the election, November, historically, normally that second phase of the bull run goes right into December. And that was true, but something changed that a lot of these guys wasn't talking about at the time, which was the ETFs, right? So when I looked at the cycle going in reverse, like, I started to think, well, you got institutional investment money coming into layer ones, not just retail like the previous cycles. So what if the layer ones don't go this way towards the end of the year, and then people pull the rug, and then all that those profits start to trickle down into alts and then trickle down into memes? What happens if it doesn't go like that? Because we see memes running at the first part of this run. I didn't want to take that chance, and I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. Because when Bitcoin ran and then it came down, nothing trickled into the alts, because the alts had already had its run and the memes had already had their run. It went in reverse. The money was made at the beginning part of the year. So yeah, but you can't blame nobody. See, it's easier to blame somebody. See, in this situation, it's just salty. People are probably upset with themselves. You can't, because damn, the man helped us run it up, and then the man said, yo, I'm getting out. And literally after I got out, this shit went down. So only people can blame, you can only blame yourself, because I said, yo, I'm getting out. You should get out. I'm gone. If you following me, this is for everybody. Go. But everybody stayed. So the only thing you can say was, I wish I would have listened. But here's the thing. Nobody remembers the million times you were right. They only remember the one time you was wrong. And to me, that was just a sign of me just to say, leave that shit alone. Because if I am wrong the one time, the people ain't gonna remember the million times I was right, or the 1,000 times I was right, or the 100 times I was right. They only gonna, and I'm not talking about him. He's a content creator, so he did the content on. So I just wanted to, showcase that, because that represented everybody that was part of that circle. Not one person that was watching that came to me and said, yo, I followed you out. When I said that on that live stream, there was no comments in the comments. Like, it was mute. It was people in there. I see the amount of people in the stream, but nobody was, because it was like, you getting out. This is what y'all was thinking in y'all head. You getting out. What? Boy, the market is on fire right now. Man, it's on too much fire. It's on too much fire. It's time to get gone. That was another one of the indicators. Yo, this shit is ridiculously on too much fire. Like, what's driving it? Like, I couldn't even tell you what was driving it to be like that. And that was another issue. Like, I don't have any data, nothing to support why why it's doing what it's doing. It's time to go. So, what happened? Platform has great balance of edutainment at high level. You're a SME of your craft. What's an SME? What does that mean? You said Anton got family money. You think so? He said he don't. He said it's I believe he earned it. I believe he earned it. I believe he earned it. Entertainment is more boosted in algorithm. You had great forecasting coming from
where it says equities and trading space. There's great macro business insight. Appreciate you. Same logic. When someone always asks you for something, you give it to them. You give it to them till one time you don't. They forget about the times you did. Yeah. Oh, okay. Subject matter expert of your niche. That only comes with experience. Subject matter expert. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm probably going probably start introducing some other stuff. It ain't gonna be investments though. Tell you that much. Y'all pissed me off the last time. Y'all pissed me off because y'all didn't bounce like when I told you to bounce. I wanted y'all to be up 50, 500,000, 150,000, a million, 60,000, 10,000. I wanted people to say, man, Mark, I'm up. I'm glad we got out. That's what I wanted to hear. So that shit kind of pissed me off that y'all held on. Oh, I don't know. But shout out to Cars and Careers. I gotta call him too, man, because I'm not like I ain't a big fan of that day trading shit. I think I talked about that before. Like I ain't a fan of that shit. To me, that shit is I'm about to call him one of these days and tell him to I have to pull him up under my coattail again. But all right, man. It's time for me to get this workout in. You dig? But man, if y'all got anything that y'all want to send me to react to, man, you know, DM it to me. Any topics that you want me to talk about, man. Send that shit to me too. I think I'm gonna do some countdown stuff before the end of the year. Next week will probably be a slow week, obviously, because it's Christmas. So I'm not gonna stream. Probably Christmas Day, maybe Christmas Eve. I'll probably do a stream. Obviously, I did a stream New Year's Eve last year. That was pretty good. That was the one where Kenneth came on. We streamed for like 5 hours, New Year's Eve. But next week will probably be a slow week. I might do a call-in show Sunday. But whatever topics y'all want me to talk about, man, just DM it to me or email it to me or send it to me some type of way. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, man, like this shit is starting to just get redundant. It's starting to get redundant, bro. It's starting to get redundant. So starting to get redundant. You know, you can do some of this stuff multiple times a year, but it has to be scattered. And I just think right now it's just it's just I ain't gonna lie. I'm low key tired of talking about cost per mile and operation costs. If people don't want to do it, then fuck them. Let them fail. You're gonna have people that like have literally come up here and say, yo, they don't want to do it. They don't see the reason to do it. They don't have the time to do it. So why waste my breath telling people something that's in their best interest if they know they supposed to do it and they don't want to do it? You know, somebody in the comment section told me, man, there's a motherfucker in the comment section that ain't even in the business yet. They don't know that I don't know they ain't in the business. I just know they not in the business yet because, you know, I got resources. Told me, said some hating and shit. Then you got haters, which I enjoy the haters. I like making fun of them. Said something about, man, what this motherfucker say? Something goofy. I can't remember. It was so goofy. Something to the fact that, man, I don't want to hear what you used to do. Like hating shit. So you got haters that watch
which I'm cool with because that person don't even got a truck yet. And I don't even like, why do haters watch? Why do y'all haters, if there's a hater in here, before I go, why do y'all watch a motherfucker that y'all clearly don't like? I don't waste my time watching people that's not value. So then you got a bunch of people in here, let me get back to a point before I derail, that want to get into the box truck business, but they can't because they ain't got the money to get in, they ain't got the truck. And then when you tell them the truth, they get upset. Right? And 9 times out of 10, they ain't gonna never get in. It's like 2 or 3 motherfuckers I know has been watching this content since I've been creating content and they still ain't in yet. You probably ain't gonna never get in. And then they get angry and they get upset. And then a big part of the reason they not in is because the information that they need to take that's gonna help excel them, they refuse it. They don't want to hear it. They hate on it. And then they got this negative energy that they keep around them, which also keeps them down. It's poor mentality shit. I'm tired of talking to them people. I'm tired of talking to a bunch of people that's just never going to get it. It's a waste of time, bro. It's a waste of energy. And then they get upset because you're at home. That's the craziest thing. Like, even a content crew, man, don't you want to be out here? Hell, motherfucking no. Why I want to be out there for? They want you to be out there with them and shit. I don't want to be out there with y'all. When I was out there, I didn't even know y'all. Fuck, I want to be out there for. They get mad because they can't. Man. So. You said, very good question. Appreciate you, Mark. You really be out here saving lives. Don't retire on this phone. No, I ain't gonna retire on you. I just put money into this studio. Shit, I built this fucking studio. They mad at that. They really mad at that. They like, when I came back with the new, they thought I was gone, but then I came back with the new build out. They mad at that. They just mad, bro. You said probably previous calls they got put on blast. Nah, I ain't no I know who it is. It's one person, they do it every day. Like, they've been doing it every day for the past year and a half. It's the same person. I already know who it is. Mark, I appreciate you and your insight. But that goes back to what I'm saying. You got a person that invests time to do that shit every fucking day. That's why I said it's weird. Like, when I be telling people, be asking me that they want to do box truck content, and they'll say some shit like Juan did. Like, man, I just kind of leery. I don't know what people gonna say. Like, you're gonna deal with all type of weird shit. So just be prepared. You're gonna have a motherfucker that will it's a motherfucker that comes to my channel every day and does the same shit. Every day. For the past year and a half. It's people that watch me. It's one guy that watches me, been watching me for 2 years and don't got nothing good to say. And I asked him, like, why do you watch me then? If there's no value here, why do you continue to waste your time? Why? I'm not going to waste my time. And all these people just have negative energy, and this is why they can't get ahead, and they refuse to accept reality because they want to live in hope. Appreciate you and your content, and get my CPM down by the end of the month. It's going to be nice, a little 4,800 for my trans rebuild, but going to be all new components. Yeah, man, you got to get your CPM down, big dog. That shit was crazy Saturday. That's why you a big part of the reason why I didn't do the live stream yesterday. You the reason why I didn't do the stream yesterday. I'm like, man, I'm straight, bro. After talking to you Saturday, man, you just ruined my whole little mood for the week. On TikTok, you ruined my whole little mood. On TikTok, the pity party is everywhere. This is all, whoa, is me culture, no matter the type of business career. Yeah, man, that's another thing, bro. Like right now, we just in a space, like you said, don't matter the industry or the niche. It's just like you said, is we got in this woe is me. Like everybody is just upset. If you doing any type of good, motherfuckers just gonna be mad at you, bro. If you doing good, motherfucker gonna be mad at you. Like everybody is angry right now. Everybody is upset, but yet and still, I saw a bunch of motherfuckers fight and topple over each other and stand out in the cold all night for some goddamn Jordans that he never wore. Mike never wore those shoes. I'm from the crib. I'm from Chicago. Mike never wore those shoes, bro. I'm not standing in no line, period. I damn sure ain't standing in no line for no goddamn shoe Mike never had on his feet. Mike didn't have them on his feet. I'm not finna stand out in negative degrees for a goddamn colorway shoe. You gotta be out your goddamn mind. If that shit wasn't like no number 3 white cement, no goddamn it, band Chicago number 1, I wouldn't stand in line for them, but I'm damn sure not standing in no line for no goddamn shoe he never wore. So everybody is woe is me and the economy this and fucked up that. But here's proof that the same people that are complaining, they'll go do what's not in their best interest. And it don't have an ethnicity on it when I say the same people, because it was a lot of different people. Only so they said, well, where did the money come from? You know where the money came from. The new way people buy things that they don't have the cash flow to buy. Pay by something. Klarna. Afterpay. So, and that's another thing. You got, this whole pity party shit, bro. I just that shit is draining, bro. I'm tired of seeing people complain about the economy and they woes and shit like that, man. I don't want to hear that shit. You said you don't care if Michael wore him or not. Yeah, I don't care if Michael wore him or not, but I damn sure not finna stand in line for no goddamn it shoe he never put on his feet. Just not finna do it. I don't understand what the big deal is about them shoes. He never wore them. It's a black shoe. Is it because it's a Christmas shoe? Is it because it's Christmas and everybody want to get them for Christmas? Why do they go crazy every December for whatever 11 they bring out? Whatever 11 they bring out, every year they go crazy for them. For what? It'd be different if it was like to me, it wouldn't be different either way, but that's not even a shoe he wore. Motherfuckers out here getting frostbit, out there sitting out there all night for a goddamn shoe. Honor that box truck course. Danny boy, how much you lost today? So if you really got it like that, Jordan has black people in the chokehold. New Balance are better anyway. I think I don't know, we kind of derailed today. We talked about a lot of different things. I agree. I think the culture, as far as Jordan started back in the late 80s, But it was a different time period then. You know what I'm saying? It was a culture around the Jordan sneaker. It was a revolutionary sneaker. Now I can speak from being around, like I lived it. I'm not no YN, so I'm not like I'm speaking because I lived it. It was a culture that was a revolutionary shoe. But we didn't have to stand in line to get them, right? The sneaker culture, what we know today, was created by the sneaker company. Well, what do you mean, Mark? They limited the supply, which creates this demand. Back then, there was plenty of supply. There was a sneaker culture, but everybody got a pair. Like, you didn't have to go stand in line. Like, my OG would take me after school. Like, could go to school, do a whole day of school, wait for her to get home from work, and we would go to Shernan's. We would go to Shernan's Shoes, and I'd get my pair in a 10.5. A common size. In high school, I've been wearing a 10.5 since high school. I got a common size. 10.5 is probably one of the most popular sizes. I could still get a 10.5 at 5, 6 in the evening. So, and then they would restock. You could go to the store a week, 2 weeks later and still get the shoe on display. The worst thing you had to worry about wearing a pair of mics back then was somebody taking them off your feet. Taking your mics or taking your starter jacket. That was the worst thing you had to worry about. You didn't have to worry about if you was going to get a pair or not. So there was no standing in lines or none of that shit back then. You did, so now this whole culture, Nike created this culture. The sneaker, the shoe industry created this culture to keep the popularity there. I can't just limit it to Nike because we saw it with Adidas and Yeezy by limiting the supply. Limiting the supply creates this craze and this demand. And it keeps people wanting to want the shoes more, and then they can keep releasing these same shoes over and 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 over again, just at higher prices, obviously, because, inflation. The number 11s, when I got them back in 96, 95, 96, obviously the white pair, white and black ones came out November 95, red and black came out February 96. Well, 125. That's how much they were. $1.25, which 95, 96, $1.25 was a lot of money for a pair of sneakers. It definitely was a sacrifice for my OG. Because I remember every time she would get them for me, I just see her face like it's just a fucking sacrifice, man. But she got them. She understood the importance of making sure I had them all. Being a school teacher, seeing how kids in her classrooms would get picked on, right? And you got kids that are less fortunate than other kids. The kids who was wearing Pro Wings back in the day, they constantly got picked on, and those kids got bad grades. They couldn't focus in class because they're constantly getting picked on because of their parent not being able to afford or not understand the importance of sacrifice. And she could see things, being an educator in the Chicago public school system, that another parent that probably could make the sacrifice and afford couldn't. So those children that got picked on because they wore Pro Wings or because they didn't have on, the latest fashion, their grades suffered because of it. I remember her telling me, it's a sacrifice. I really can't afford this, but I don't got to worry about nobody making fun of you because you ain't got on Jordans so that you can focus on your schoolwork. It's not going to be a distraction for you. You see what I'm saying? Being picked on because you got on Pro Wings at XJ900s was a distraction. Those kids are constantly had to defend themselves. It's hard to focus. Right? So I remember her face when she used to get them for me, but shit, we didn't. If she would have had to stand in line, all night and all day and all that shit, I would have never got them because she had to work. She wasn't gonna do that shit no way. So shit, it's just a different culture now. No motherfucking way in the world. You got shit, hell no. If I have to get a raffle ticket, I don't want the shoe. Me personally, if it's a pair of Jordans that I want and I really want them, I'll just pay the whatever I need to pay to get them. You know what I'm saying? So like I've paid for certain shoes, you know, $150 more, $200 more. Specific shoes, obviously, not no colorway that he didn't wear. You know, luckily for me, the cement threes that came out last year, I had a plug. My homie got them. So he had a plug, so I didn't have to. But if shoes that I want, if I gotta pay extra to get them, then I just pay extra to get them. I'm not finna wait no line. Not doing that shit. I'll pay extra to get them. So I don't think they overrated shoe. I mean, the ones that came out Saturday probably so. Jordan it's a classic cultural shoe. I think it's a cultural shoe. It's just a timeless shoe. 1 through 14. Anything after 14, and 14 is iffy for me. But 1 through 14 is classics, and I think they changed the Nike and Jordan and Tinker. It just changed it, just revolutionized the sneaker industry. It just changed it forever. It's never going to be the same. I mean, Jordan makes so much money, Nike made it its own subsidiary brand. That's how much money that shit makes. They had to separate the brand. They made it its own brand. So, said if you have to get a raffle ticket, yeah. So yeah, you talking about? Yep, that's the whole point of having money. Yeah, if you money should be able to get you that convenience. Anybody that, to me, and I'm keeping it a buck, if you willing to sacrifice your health, especially in this market, because it was like below zero outside Friday night going into Saturday morning. If you willing to stand outside all night for something that's $235 that you need to get I'm sorry, you need to get your priorities straight, because let me see something. How much they going for right now on let me see something. So they was $235 regular price. They going for $120 more right now on Go. So me personally, I'm gonna sleep in my warm bed, not run the risk of getting frostbitten. I'm going to pay the resale price of somebody that probably did stand out in line all night, that's using a third party to make $100 or whatever they want to make, minus the commission that the third party is charging them. Or I'm gonna go to a consignment shop here in Chicago, because I live in a big market where a person who stood in line at Nike or Foot Locker took it there. And around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll just go straight to the store, Go. Or what they got downtown? What's the name of that store? One of the Gold or whatever the store is, and I just paid $120 extra there. $384 for my size right now. $384. So $235. I'm gonna pay an extra. I'm gonna stand in line all night and risk getting frostbitten to still not possibly, depending on what time I get in the line, Because it was people that said they stood in line, and then when the store opened, like they only had like a size run. So now you got these people that stood in line all night and still didn't get them. I'd rather just sleep in my bed and just pay an extra $150. And not run the risk of getting frostbitten or not run the risk of getting let down. So to me, a person that's willing to stand in line all night and run the risk of getting frostbitten for something that's $235, that's an indicator that they probably don't need them. Because now when I measure my risk of my health plus my time, to me, that time and the health risk is worth $150 fucking dollars. That means that person, to me, that stood out there all night really couldn't afford them. It shouldn't have been out there. Somebody says pay somebody else to stand in line. I heard they did that once upon a time. I don't know. Do they still pay people to stand in line for them now? I didn't buy a 500 car last week because I was in a 2-lane DMV and I had to wait about 2 hours. What? What are you talking about? Somebody said, I don't understand. You said I'd rather buy some XRP. If I have to get a raffle ticket, I don't want those shoes. I still like the 7s. I think you got me confused with someone else, Danny. All right, man. I know we derailed a little bit today, but it's cool, man. Off to the gym I go. Catch you on the next one. Peace.